everyone, this is Asia's mom Jennifer, and we're back today with part 2 of our grooming series. If you haven't seen the first part of the series, you can click the box at the top and watch that video and then come back to this one. Asia just got a bath and now I'm towel drying her off, which is basically just trying to get most of the water out of her coat. I don't rub because it'll tangle her hair. And when she's done being towel dried, I spray some of this reconstructing spray from Pure Paws all over her coat before I blow dry her, and being really careful not to get it in her eyes. I know that they make special blow dryers for pets, however, I don't have one of those, and so I just use my blow dryer set on a low heat setting. And Asia doesn't like the air blowing anywhere near her face, and so I usually just let her face and her head air dry. The first thing that I do after I'm done blow drying her is to brush her head out and put her top knot back in so that it keeps the hair out of her eyes. I use this small brush by Chris Christensen. It works really, really well to brush her face and brush all the hair back on her top knot. You can find all of the products that we're using today linked in the video description below. As you can see, I'm being really careful what hair I pull up into her top knot today because she's getting a haircut. I want to make sure that there isn't any hair that is down around her ears that should be pulled up into her top knot so it doesn't get cut off. I'm using cordless clippers to give Asia her haircut. They are super lightweight and they're really quiet. They use a rechargeable battery, which is super convenient. I'm starting the cut at the base of her neck, right below where her top knot is, being really careful not to get any of her top knot hair caught in the clippers, and I just go from front to back. You can see here I'm holding her tail out of the way so that I make sure not to get any of that hair caught in the clippers as well. You have to be really careful on the sides when you're clipping your dog because there are skin flaps where their legs are that can get caught in the clippers. As you can see, I'm holding the hair back and being really careful again not to catch any of that loose skin that's underneath her leg. When I'm clipping around her legs, I make these scooping motions that kind of scoop away from her hair when I get close to the hair that is really long on her legs. It keeps it from being just a blunt cut, kind of smooths it out. When it comes to clipping around her face and her neck, I'm just really careful again to hold her ears back and any hair that I don't want to be caught in the clippers. When I'm done clipping all of the hair on her body, it's time to move on to trimming her face. I usually try to keep up with trimming her face at least every other week so I don't have a whole lot to cut off, but I'm just really careful to, again, hold her ears back, and she's pretty good at being still enough for me to clip and trim what I need to trim off to get her face looking like I want it. I usually just trim a little bit at a time and then I kind of fluff her hair out and look at it, and then if I need to go back I can trim again. When I'm done trimming her face, then I move on to brushing her hair, and I usually start with her ears first, being very careful not to get the skin underneath her ears when I'm brushing her. I'm actually holding my hand under her hair so that I can feel where the bristles are on the brush. And then I move on to her legs, and she has got super thick hair, and so I kind of have to brush her leg hair in layers, kind of brushing the top layer and then moving that layer back and brushing the layer underneath. The last step of the grooming process for us is to trim up her paw pads. I usually have to do this about once every 3 weeks, and some people like to do this with clippers. However, I prefer to use these little tiny scissors with a blunt tip. It really helps me to get into all the little creases and crannies in her paws and make sure that I remove all the hair that shouldn't be there. And that's our grooming routine. I hope you enjoyed it and that you'll come back next week for a new video. Thanks so much for watching.